Get inspired by seeing fellow heroes apply AHK in everyday wins. The shared stories alone make membership a no-brainer. Join our Friday and Saturday Zooms for 3 hours of hands-on AHK teaching and support. Get unstuck and level up in real time.
You told me how to get that that outline on the side, and I promptly forgot. Could you kindly show me again how to do that?
Sure. Just press F1, and there it is. The first one, because you already used it, says open in sidebar.
That's
Yeah.
Claude.
So what I would do, go ahead and press F1 again. On the cog on the right side, you see the cog on the right of that? No, on the name where it says opening sidebar on the same menu that you were just at. At the top on the right side, you can see the cog. Click on that and just set up a hotkey for that. So double click on it and set up whatever hotkey you want. And if you can remember the hotkey, that would be better for you. And then whenever you need to open it, you can just go ahead and press that hotkey and it would be there. All right. Double click on that again, please. Do Control-Shift-L again. And before hitting enter, notice that at the bottom it says 6 existing commands have this hotkey. So I wouldn't want to use that one, right? Do not press backspace. Instead, hit delete, escape, sorry. And now go ahead and try, well, hit escape first. And double click on it. And now press the keys again.
Well, a different group of keys.
Right, I'm tempted to use C, but
you could do that same hotkey but with Alt, right? So Control-Shift-Alt-L. Try that. Control-Shift-Alt-L. Right. So now only one has it, you know. So usually what I do is I just click on that to see what command that is. And this is the quick chat toggle. And this one only works when the chat is enabled. So you can tell two things. What is triggering? So hold on. Can you? What is triggering? And when? This when is kind of like a condition. If that condition is not met, for example, if you do not have chat enabled, then this hotkey will not work. It is kind of like a hot if, right? Now, what this does is that it opens the quick chat. You might want to replace that because you want Claude to come up, right? So in this case, it doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and replace it because you do want Claude instead of the other chat, right? So what we're going to do is just delete this part right here. Just delete it. And at this point, just type Claude open, Claude space open. There it is. So that one here that says, or well, this one here, the one that opens in the sidebar, double click on that one and do Control-Shift-Alt-L. And we know that it's going to replace something, but the thing that you're replacing, you don't really care that much about it. So hit enter. And now close the bar on the left by just clicking somewhere else. Just click somewhere else. And now go ahead and press that hotkey that you just set up. So there, it should come up, right? Beautiful. There it is. Right, there it is. Beautiful. So that's it. In any case, whenever you need to open the Claude panel, now it has that hotkey. And you can do this for any hotkey in VSCode. Whatever you don't like, just click on the cog, change the hotkey. It's very simple. I would say something. The only reason why VSCode, I like VSCode other than certain editors, is because you can sync your hotkeys, which means that if you go to another computer or you reloaded your computer, you can then log into your account. So down here on the left, you have an account and you can use your Windows account, okay? Or you can use your GitHub account, whatever you prefer. So the one, yeah, there. If you log in to VS Code, you can set your hotkeys and preferences to be saved. All right. So let me see what this does. Hold on. Oh no. So then let's click on the cog right here. Sorry. No, but that's the one that you clicked. I don't want you to click on the cog though. It is the profile. So here, so sign in to sync settings right here. That's the one. So this is optional, of course. You can either choose to log in with your Microsoft account or your GitHub account. The Microsoft account is the easiest one because it is your computer's account, right? Again, guys, if you don't like that, right, don't use it.
No.
Now, click on turn on the settings sync. And what that would do, it tells you which things do you want to sync. Your settings, your keyboard shortcuts, your snippets, and so on. So you say sign in. The next time you can choose which account to use. You can click that one, the first one. That's it. This is a one-time thing. It's done. It will be synced. And then later on, if you go to another computer or you update your computer, so accept local settings. Say, okay, you have done this already, by the way. So what happens is now your settings are synced. And if you go to another computer and you log in to VSCode, all your settings are going to be transferred automatically. So you don't have to worry about your hotkeys and anything, which is great because then you don't have to reset everything. With many editors, what happens is you don't have this particular functionality. And that means that every time you switch to another computer, now you have to set up all your hotkeys again, all your preferences again, and stuff like that. In this case, you don't want to do that. Wait a little bit. Hold on. This is because we are, close that. That is because it's now loading all of your extensions that you had before. Close that. The AutoHotkey++ is having issues. Close that. Yeah, close all those. It should have finished now. Let me have control for a second here. Let me just confirm that everything is enabled. And here on the extensions, when I click on it, it tells you that AutoHotkey++ is there. Now, remember, AutoHotkey++ is only good if you're doing V1 code. I don't think you are, right? You're doing V2 code. So we can disable this and just keep the V2 language.
Good. It's got
the errors that we were having, it was because of that extension, but everything else looks correct. So you have all your extensions and everything is synced. Later on, if you go to another computer or something, just log in, just go to the cog, log in, and everything is going to come to that computer like automatically. You don't have to do anything.
AutoHotkey had an alert. There.
Okay.
Okay.
You have something that is typing for you.
I'm trying to turn it off. Okay, there.
You were going to say something, Joe?
I'll just let him finish.
Okay.
What does they got for debug? Oh,
Yeah. So this extension is no longer available. What do you mean? Hold on. Oh, that's weird. What?
Is it actually on the forum?
No, I think something is wrong. And more with his installation. Oh, hold on. No, hold on. What? Why is it twice now? Let me try to have control. Hold on. Let me see something here. Why can't I click?
And this is exactly why we want to create our editor that's, you know,
Right.
okay.
It's kind of strange. Yeah.
These little
So
things.
here it says that it's not available. Let me see if that shows up on my end. Oh yeah, it does. Not sure why. So VSCode is doing something. I don't know what it is. let's ignore the error for now. I will figure out what is going on. I will talk to the guy. I will send a message to him telling him that this is what is showing up. But I'm not sure what it is. Very strange.
And what I was going to say earlier was those your hotkeys are all saved in what the user JSON, user something JSON. Am I right?
Yeah, that's
Your
right.
hotkey
It
preferences.
is a JSON. Yeah, it is a JSON file.
So my point is, even if you didn't want to use the Microsoft or whatever to sync them, you can grab them yourself. Now, let me share my screen. Ray, I'm gonna stop yours, but I actually grabbed a part of yours, and I'll show you because it's similar, even though you're using the light window. And I'm in cursor, but it's still, of course, VS Code, right? But notice now my active. This is my active one. My non-active ones, if I had another one, it would be green because it's so hard. And here was just a quick shot of Ray's. That color difference to me is ridiculous, right? And in the dark one, it's even harder if you have a bunch of these to tell when you're trying to find your non-active one. I can't read them. So it's also a setting that's easily adjustable. If you go into same user settings, right, you can make little tweaks like that to it, which is really cool, right? So you can make it where how you want it.
How do I turn on dark?
I'll let Isaias help you with that. Was it under preferences, file preferences, and then themes, something like that? Does that sound right?
It is a theme, yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
file preferences, themes.
the Lexer works a lot better in dark mode, it seems like.
Let me see. And then you can always, if you don't know where to go, just hit F1. Just hit F1 and type theme. And there should be something about themes here. So preferences, color, theme, go down. Oh, hold on, not that. Oh, there you go.
The
Kind of like
double
switched
hotkey.
Yeah.
I hate those double hotkeys. I can't use them.
I don't know. It is called like chords or chords. I don't know how they say it.
Yeah, chords.
And it is very interesting. Well, hold on. Let us think about this for a little bit. So chords are amazing because it makes your keyboard have way more hotkeys than usual. But then you have to remember the sequence, right? Yeah. So that's what makes it so annoying. And VS Code actually chose a very bad chord, like Control K and then Control something else. And I'm like, oh God, why Control K? Like Control Keyboard? I don't know what it means.
Yeah, they're totally random as far as I can tell. Yeah, there's no intuitiveness to them whatsoever.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Now, your inactive ones were green, easily read. How do I set that?
Sorry, say that again.
The inactive ones on Joe were green.
No, hold on. So let me tell you something. Even though VS Code is very extensible, themes in particular are very annoying because you cannot modify the themes yourself easily. You can, so you can go ahead, but what happens with themes is that you would have to add on. Let me show you this. Let me have control for a second here. And I would say, Ray, I will do the change and I will send it to you because it's too complex. All right. And I would say too complex, not because one cannot get it. It's just where to get the information. So the settings in VS Code is divided in two parts. The visual part like this, in which you can see all your settings. And the second one is a file that if you click on this icon on the top right, it is the same settings, but now it is a JSON file. In this JSON file, you can then add some things about the workbench, like workbench, and then themes or something. Let me see, where do they have that? And that's the problem. Like, you would have to go. So here, well, that's different. That's for another thing. So there is a setting that we can change on the workbench. All right. Command palette, maybe. No, that's different. Editor. I know that is the editor. Workbench editor, and then colors and stuff. That you can then define colors for very specific things. But this, you cannot do it in the visual settings. You have to do it in this file. And then to change that, you have to find out on Google or using AI. I would just use AI, say, if I want to change the color of the tabs like this one. So for example, right now at the top, you see that it's red at the top. It means that the file changed, right? And and that the file is in a bad state, actually. The little dot is the one that tells you that the file changed. If you want to change those colors, you would have to find out what is the setting that you have to apply for the colors for that particular thing. And the information you will not come to it very easily. I would just use AI to ask it. Okay, so I want to change the colors of my tabs on VSCode. How do I do that on the settings.json file? And it usually will come up with something very easily. But again, I think you might just not remember all that because there's a lot of steps involved. So what I can do is I will find it out and just send you guys on the AutoHotkey Hero group something on that.
Alternatively, you can change the background shade, which is also what I did, right? And so Isaias is, talking about you were focused on the green font, but I changed both, right? But my point is maybe don't change the font color, just change the background color, and then you don't have to worry about messing it when the red changes or whatever, right? You don't have to worry.
Right.
But
so,
to
but
Isaias'
again,
point, sorry, this. I just used AI and said, this is driving me nuts. How do I change that? And it gave me exactly what I wanted.
Right. Now, one of the things, I don't know if you have this, you have chat and you can open the chat in new chat here. Let's do that. No, you don't. Okay. So, I don't know. So the point here, what I was going to say is, instead of using Claude's AI here, you might want to use the internal chat from VSCode. Okay. So there's a code. Let me see if you have it. You don't have it. That's why. Okay. So what happens is with GitHub Copilot chat, this one is the one that is integrated into VSCode. This is not the same as Claude here. Why would I use that one? You see that it showed up on this side here on the right. Because this one has a very specific @ symbol. I say @VSCode, and I can ask questions about VSCode, and it will not. So this kind of like gives it some context. And whenever I'm looking for settings or something regarding VSCode, I would just open this window, which is the chat from Copilot, and I would put @VSCode. How can I change the color of the background color of the editor tabs? And it should at least, the problem with this is that you have to connect to it to use it. You can use either your Google account or something to connect. But the idea here is once it's connected, you can do very interesting stuff with it and ask questions about VSCode specifically. That should have opened a browser window in which you're going to choose your Google account. And then once you log in, it should just allow you. Oh, it just failed. So again, it is something that you can do later on. But if not, just go to ChatGPT online and just ask it there. It's the same thing. So you could just try again and set up VSCode. Let me see.
Or I could ask Claude.
Yeah, or
He means AI.
The problem with VSCode is, with Claude, is that it might not have the information about VSCode directly. this one looks at your VS Code. No, it looks at your VS Code right here. And then it tells you, there it is.
You said he could go to ChatGPT online, and Connie's just saying, yeah, well, if you're going on.
Oh, or just ask VS Code. Yeah, sure. So here, as you can see, it says, open your settings, look for that, and add this. And then it says, show an example. And when you click on that, it just opens your file and works on it. So that's the part why this thing might be a little bit easy, because it's tied into your VS Code thing directly, right? So right now it told me, hey, tab, active background, and then let's add a color, right? Let's add any color. And if I remember right, when a color shows up, now you can click on this and pick any color you want.
And it dynamically changes.
Yeah, there we go. So now the file, notice how the tab changed color. So now you can just go ahead and pick a color that makes sense to you, whatever you prefer. I don't know what it is. You would usually go with something very light or whatever. And when you save the file, the thing kind of like changes. So go ahead and play with the color, Ray. Just click on the box, find a color that you like, and once you're ready.
I believe the inactive background, it's it's inactive.
So you can exactly. You can do both the active.
Just remember, Isaias, until we did it, add that comma when you add a new row. Add that comma at the end to continue the JSON object.
Yes,
it's very easy to forget, and like, why did it break? And then you're like, oh yeah, the object.
All right, you're right. So I did this as an instant. Right now, if you don't put the comma, you will see that this gets highlighted in like, oh, there's an error. The error is that I'm missing a comma there, because that's an object. Okay, so that's a normal object there. Now we can just change the background color of stuff for the inactive ones, for example. And again, when I save, that would take into effect. So there's the inactive, there's the active. Just play with the colors until you get what you want.
And to get the color box, you did quote, open quote?
No. So here, VS Code has this thing. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I hate it.
Yeah.
Depends where it shows up, all right? Just shows up. When I open the quotation marks, it suggested something there. It suggested the default, and it suggested a number. When you open this number, VS Code knows that you're meaning a color, and then this little box shows up, and that's where I can just change the number to whatever I want. But that sometimes shows up on locations that I don't want it to show up, and then it is just really annoying, right? But now that you have this little box, you can click on it and then just play with the colors until you get something that makes sense to you. So red are inactives, greens are actives. If it at some point you see something and you are like, oh, but that is not the color that I want, then just change it here in this file.
And here's a really interesting point, because you have to remember the colors you see right now for your fonts, those aren't always the colors they'll be.
No, right? Exactly.
You may pick your colors based on what you're seeing, but what if, one of the things turns red, the font turns red on your red background, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right now, this turned red because there is a problem with the file. So if I save the file, there should be a problem there. And now the font is red on a green background. Okay, I can see it at least. Yeah. But if that happens on an inactive file,
right,
that is red on red, then you probably will not be able to see it, and that would be a problem, right? So those are the type of things that you would. That's why I don't mess with those very often, because I don't like messing with these guys, like.
I was just amazed at how terrible the theme I had was at reading, being able to see read the text on the non-active, the font color. I don't know why they didn't go with like a white. So, because I'm like, okay, I could at least see it. It was too close.
But you can see it's still readable. All right. Still readable. But now I just removed that extra comma that I added. And now everything should be good. again, play with the colors however you prefer. And again, that's the other thing. VS Code is so extendable. It's very extendable. But when you go into things like this, now you have to deal with the settings.json file. And finding out the information was very hard before. Now with AI, you saw how easy it was. I just asked, how do I do that? It just shows up, right?
How
So
would you make the font bigger?
yeah,
for the
well,
tab?
again, very likely there is a sort of font thing, tab.font maybe.
Well,
And
or
if
just
it
go
is
back
not
to your AI.
there,
Go
yeah,
back
if
to
it is
your-
not there, then we just ask AI. That's it. So again, let me just open the chat, right? Usually, actually, what it usually had for that is Control Alt I, but it's not showing up on your end. So maybe chat open. Yeah, Control Alt I is what I tried to do. It just didn't do it. When I click on that, it shows up in here, and then I say, how do I change the? And again, I make sure that I say at VS Code, how do
And Ray, were you meaning in the tab
the
titles
Yeah.
or in your?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tab.
the font size? By the way, you can change the font color. Well, the font of the whole thing. One of the things that I noticed in your case is that everything is very small. So there's the Windows zoom level, you see? And again, whenever you see these things with a dot, window dot zoom level, if you press F1 and you search for that Windows zoom level, you will see that they show up in here. And if I do that, and it tells you what the hotkey is, control equals, control minus, whatever it is, right? Then notice that everything gets bigger, right? Now, if you want only the tabs, yeah, I would have to talk to AI for that. But just doing control equals in this case, it just makes everything bigger, which might be better for what you want, because you want everything to be a little bit bigger, right?
Well,
I
and
don't think you just want the tab, right?
to help your memory, it's really Control plus.
Yes, it is. It's
But
just that, yeah,
you're showing you the equal sign, but if you think about it as Control plus,
yeah, it makes sense. It's just
Makes
that,
sense.
yeah. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's just leave it at that. We only have like 15 more minutes to go. I don't know if
explore our huge library of 466 plus hours of recorded AHK tutorials. Watch, rewind, and master tricks at your own pace. Grab 25% off all our AHK goodies, courses, scripts, and custom work so you save cash while building your toolkit like a boss